Week 10, Day 1. Jerry Hart's sixth sense. An uneasy feeling had made Jerry Hart miserable all day long. It was difficult to explain, but the similar sensations in the past had been accurate. Trouble was on the way. Just as some people can predict the onset of inclement weather because of an aching in their bones, so could Jerry detect incipient disaster. He sat at his desk, trying to peruse a company report, but his efforts were ineffectual. The gnawing at his insides, the tinge of uneasiness, the premonition of calamity that besieged him would not desist. When the phone rang, he recoiled with fear. It was his wife and she was hysterical. Their son had been bitten by a mad dog. Sample sentences. 1. After being admonished by his father, he began to peruse the want ads daily. 2. When the black cat crossed her path, Ellen had a premonition of disaster. 3. The pickets promulgated a warning that they would not desist in their efforts to enhance their standard of living. 4. As the snake prepared to strike, the girls recoil in horror. 5. She blamed her absence from the game on the inclement weather, but we knew that was sour grapes. Week 10, Day 2. Crisis. As soon as Jerry Hart could get the pertinent facts from his wife, he dashed out of the office and his way home. He jostled people in the hallway, implored the elevator operator to hurry, and with flagrant disregard for an elderly gentleman jumped into the cab he had hailed. The 20-minute taxi ride seemed interminable, and all the while horrible thoughts occurred to Jerry. Visions of an ugly mastiff with foaming jaws obsessed him. A crowd of people had gathered in front of his house, so that Jerry had to force his way through them. Little Bobby was on his bed, surrounded by a doctor, a policeman, Jerry's doleful wife, his 2 daughters, and a half-dozen wan neighbors. Sample sentences. 1. The stockbroker was obsessed with the idea of becoming a painter. 2. My nervous neighbor bought a pugnacious mastiff to frighten burglars. 3. Doleful expressions abounded throughout headquarters on the night of the election. 4. During the trial, the astute lawyer was able to elicit the pertinent information from the key witness. 5. After the tension, his normally ruddy face was wan and tired. Week 10, Day 3. A time for decision. The doctor explained the situation calmly, avoiding histrionics. First of all, they didn't know whether the dog had rabies. Secondly, the elusive dog had frustrated all attempts to find him so far. Finally, the decision would have to be made, whether Bobby was to undergo the painful vaccination administered daily for 2 weeks. Mrs. Hart said that a neighbor who had seen the dog, claimed that it had been foaming at the mouth, barking, and growling constantly. All symptomatic of rabies, but the policeman interjected that there hadn't been a case of a mad dog in the county in over 20 years. He repudiated the neighbor's report, advocating that they do nothing for at least another day. Mr. and Mrs. Hart sat down to think about their next step. Sample sentences. 1. The warden frustrated the prisoner's attempt to escape by adding more guards. 2. Most viewers hate it when a commercial is interjected into a suspense drama. 3. Saying that he would not tolerate her histrionics, the director fired the temperamental actress. 4. All his life he found happiness elusive, but wealth easy to come by. 5. The sordid rioting was symptomatic of the problems facing the large cities. Week 10, Day 4. The pertinent facts about rabies. Give me some of the rudimentary information about the disease, Doc, said Jerry, glancing toward the inert figure of his son. Well, as you know, the malady used to be called hydrophobia. Fear of water, because one of the symptoms is an inability to swallow liquids. Actually, it is caused by a live virus from the saliva of an infected animal. If saliva gets into a bite wound, the victim may get rabies. The virus travels along the nerves to the spine and brain. Once the salient characteristics appear, 10 days to 6 months, then death is imminent. What are the symptoms? Asked Mrs. Hart. Pain and numbness, difficulty in swallowing, headaches and nervousness. Also, muscle spasms and convulsions. The squeamish neighbors who were engrossed in the doctor's remarks gasped. I think we should go ahead with the injections. The distraught Mrs. Hart said. I've heard enough. Sample sentences. 1. The senator loathed it when people said that an atomic war was imminent. 2. When his squeamish partner complained about a lack of ethics, the businessman laughed at his innocence. 3. Engrossed in his crossword puzzle, he failed to notice the paucity of customers in the restaurant. 4. One of the salient features of her poetry is a dependence upon euphemisms. 5. Seeing the inert player, the manager dashed out onto the field.